Hello again. I'm Randy Schrader, and I actually have here with me
How you doing?
Terrence Holmes. And we're going to walk through a model member orientation. And I'm lucky Terrence is here today looking at the business with me and actually starting in the business. And so we're going to make this his new member orientation. We won't actually go into some of the things that are personal to his goals and objectives and so on, but nevertheless, I'll walk through this new member orientation. And whenever I'm referring to Terrence, then I could well be referring to you. And my purpose here is to create a basic format. And that once you've reviewed this material, which is created not knowing you, your goals, your objectives, but which creates the foundation of similarity for all, then what I like very much is to have a chance to interact with you personally. We're at such an early, small development stage place in the building of our organization that behind your review of this tool, I would like to speak with you personally and take this from material delivered to the world to material that is discussed between you and I to help you accomplish your goals and objectives. And so I'm now using a document that is called the Getting Started Workbook, which will shortly be made available to all Kannaway distributors as soon as a few resources are finished that are referenced in this document, which are not yet available. Be available very, very soon. So I'm giving you a sneak peek of the Kannaway Getting Started process. And this is a redelivery of basic concepts and principles that have been the governing principles and activities of my career for the last 20-some years. I assure you now, as I was assured when I first said yes to the industry, that there is a proven and predictable pattern of activities. There's no luck and there's no guesswork. If A, then B, then C, then D. And so, Terrence,
Yes.
my question to you is if I can show you specifically and exactly and absolutely how to make money in this business, are you willing to do it?
Yes.
Okay. And so I could pose that question to you. Are you willing to do it in this business? It's interesting to me that the single most important characteristic of one who succeeds is willingness. It's not any specific skill or any specific talent. In fact, I can tell you right now in advance, you have the talent required to succeed. Some of those talents have already been refined into the skills you'll need, and some talents have yet to be refined into skills you'll need. I don't meet anybody who walks in the door and they're perfectly prepared for this. We all have to learn something different. And it's something new. It's logical, isn't it? We've got to learn something different. But I can assure you all that you have the talent required to do the business. The good news is you have ample talent. The bad news is talent makes no money. It is for those who work and work and work and work to refine those God-given talents into skills that become beneficial to others. That's where the results are. That makes sense?
Yes.
And this very process that I'll describe is a process that as we engage in the process together, it helps you develop the skills that are necessary to really succeed in the business. So it says your first 48 hours in the business, we're actually going to walk through a series of 10 steps to get started correctly. And when we get to step number 2, it is going to contemplate the idea of an appropriate initial order. At that point, we'll come back and review these value packs. And one of these value packs is in all likelihood what you'll select as your first order in the business. And I'm going to come back to that as step number 2. Now, you'll notice that here, as I've just described, this handbook was written with these truths in mind. Success in Kannaway does not occur by chance. There is no luck and there is no guesswork. There is, in fact, a proven and predictable pattern of activities. And I can say that now to the world at large, I can say it to Terrence individually, you have the natural abilities required to succeed. And when we refine those abilities into skills that become beneficial to others, that's where we get the key in the lock. The very activities that this workbook will guide you through are the activities that help us develop those skills. And I view it like this. I think of it as a simple stairway, or sometimes I refer to it as a ladder. And so now just imagine here a ladder or a staircase. Probably, if we wanted to, we could get away with skipping the first step. Right? On a ladder or a stairway, you could probably skip the first step and get away. And you're a strong man with large legs. You could probably skip the second step. But does it make sense to you that if you tried to skip too many steps, that pretty soon you'd fall?
Yes.
Right? What I like to do is completely eliminate risk. I find people who, for some reason, feel like they want to try to short-circuit the system, they want a shortcut, they want to skip steps. Well, I assure you now, whoever you are, and I assure you, Terrence, that when I say there's a proven and predictable pattern of activities, there's no luck and there's no guesswork, you can throw all that out the window if we don't take every step as it's outlined. If we follow these steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, If we take those steps, that's when we'll have the success. If we skip steps, if we try to jump over steps, the odds are we're not going to get what we want to get. The first step is to enroll in Kannaway. Now, in your case, Terrence, I don't believe you've done that yet. And so at the conclusion of this session or tonight or whenever you want, we'll log into the computer. And when I help you do your enrollment, I will at that same time be actually teaching you how to enroll another. And by the way, you might notice that I'm now doing a new member orientation with Terrence, though Terrence is not yet a Kannaway member. Why is that? It's called a new member orientation. It's because I reflect on the time when I first got involved in the industry. I went to a presentation, and everything that I heard sounded good. It sounded really good. But all I heard was discussion of what the business is. I was never told what I would need to do to succeed in the business. And I couldn't really act based on what it is. I had to know what you expected of me. What do you want me to do? What do I have to do to become successful? When I knew both what it is and what I would have to do to become successful, that was actionable. And so I actually do more new member orientations for people just like you who are deciding, am I going to do this? Because then it becomes actionable. I don't do as many new member orientations for people who have decided. This becomes part of the decision process for me. And so, as is obvious, we're recording this link, and this will be available for you to review again behind the actual enrollment. I mean, this is something that one should review again and again and again to course correct, just to course correct, and always try to guide yourself back to the center line. Okay. So, enroll in Kannaway, you really can't do it wrong. But when I walk you through your enrollment, I'll at that very same moment be teaching you how to enroll your first member, your second member, your third member, and on it goes. Place your initial Kannaway order. Now, I want to say this slightly differently. The document says, place your initial Kannaway order. I want instead to say, let's place an appropriate initial order. And what is an appropriate initial order? An appropriate initial order is one that considers the following things. Number one, what is your goal? It doesn't make sense to me that everybody would be entering the business the same way. If someone who has a very large goal is making an entry decision, it doesn't make sense to me that they would make the very same entry decision as one who's trying to make a few bucks, right? And so we should consider, what is your goal? The next thing that we should consider is, what is your financial circumstance? I believe that in our industry and in our company, there are no new mistakes. There are new people making old mistakes, and there are old people making old mistakes. One of the most common mistakes is trying to impose my goal on someone else, or trying to impose my financial circumstance on somebody else. It's not about my goal. It's about yours. It's not about my financial circumstance. It's about yours. It is not about what I want. It's about what you want. And one of the things that's counterintuitive, or at least it was counterintuitive for me when I first got into business, is if I'm focused on my outcome, then I almost certainly will not be asking you to do the things that are right for you. We have to shift our thinking and be shifting our thinking towards what is it really that that person wants to accomplish, and help you accomplish what you want, as opposed to trying to guide you into what I want. So the things that would add up to the appropriate initial order decision are, number one, what is your goal? Number two, what is your financial circumstance? Number three, what is your desire and willingness to work? I'll be absolutely candid with all of you. What you get from me is a steady dose of what I think is true. Sometimes I'm wrong, but you'll always get what I think is true. There's some pretty good people who I've seen join the business along the way who had a greater willingness to spend money than they had to work. And what I can tell you, Terrence, is that spending money in this will give you a product experience, but the spending money part has little to do with what you're going to earn. It's the actual activities that we engage in behind it. So number one, what's your goal? Number two, what's your financial circumstance? Number three, what's your willingness to work? And number four, I want to consider proper business building and duplication processes. So here is a bit of human nature, something that I've learned over the course of my life. If I join the business and I join the business with the smallest product package, there are a couple of things that will happen. First of all, if I make the smallest entry decision, then there are large numbers of the company's products which I will not be consuming because I don't have them. Does it make sense to you that you'll be a better ambassador for products you've used than you would be for products you haven't used? Of course. And so a person should acquire as many of the products as is feasible for him or her to acquire if we want to be an effective information delivery source. The second thing that I found is really, really important. If I join the business and I enter and I buy this starter pack, and my entry fee is $179. It is extraordinarily unlikely that I would ever enroll someone who placed the largest order. Highly, highly unlikely. I will almost never encourage someone to take an action bigger than the action that I took. I want a person to place an appropriate initial order. Don't misunderstand and say that and believe that I just said that all people should be buying the biggest pack. That's absolutely not true. I want you to consider your goal, your financial circumstance, your willingness to work, proper business building strategies, all those things, and then place what is for you the largest appropriate order. Terrence, from this moment forward, people are going to say, what did you do? And if your answer is that I bought the executive pack because that was appropriate based on my goal, my financial circumstance, and my willingness to work, then they will do likewise. And then your multiplier will be based upon this. And obviously, we get paid when products are sold. We are a direct selling company. It's when people are buying and consuming products that's what turns the income wheel. And so we should place the largest appropriate order. Also, in the compensation plan, there are big advantages. I'll discuss them a little bit when we get to that station in our discussion. There are big advantages whenever a person joins the business and their initial order is at least 200 business volume points. That makes us what is called 3-star qualified. It gives us actually a triple payment on the direct selling bonus, the bonus we receive each time a new person enrolls and places the first order. Folks, I don't want to belabor this point anymore. Decide what is the largest appropriate order for you. Do not place an order that is larger than appropriate for you. I want to help people financially. I never want to cause anyone financial stress, but I do want you to place the largest appropriate order because that is what sets you up to make the most money in the business. That is the truth. Certainly when I joined the business, there was only one logical choice, is the executive pack. My guess is that will wind up being true for many of you, but you place what is for you the appropriate initial order. That is step number 2. Step number 3 is to complete your Smart Ship enrollment. You know, I'm one of the single greatest advocates in this industry for Smart Ship, or I've always called it Auto Ship. And what is that? That is simply when we put our credit card on file, we tell the company in advance what we would like to receive every month. Now, in my own case, this is a really, really easy thing. I've completely bought into the idea that we should all be consuming 50 milligrams of CBD per day. In order for me to consume 50 milligrams of CBD, I need to have Revive AM, Revive PM, Revive Pro, and the detox capsules. That's what I have to have in order for me to get my 50 milligrams. Now, in addition, my auto ship also includes the salve packets, because those are absolutely great samplers to give to people as they're looking at the business. And so that's our auto ship. Our auto ship is the salve, and it's the Revive AM, PM, Revive Pro, and the Revive Detox capsule. That is my auto ship. Well, you make your auto ship what's appropriate for you, but here's the key. The key is to understand that when we establish our Smart Ship, that is the indicator that we are in fact in this business and we're in it from now on. I remember when I was first introduced to the idea of auto ship, it was a fellow, a pretty successful person in the industry, came to my home and said, Randy, you need to get on auto ship. And I said, well, that seems kind of silly. Why don't I just order more of what I need when I need it? Why should I put my credit card on file to automatically ship it? And he said, well, Randy, if you don't get on auto ship, then I'm not going to support you. And so I clicked on auto ship. And by the time he was out the driveway, I clicked off auto ship because he hadn't explained to me why it was good for me. And it felt to me like all he'd done was explain something that was good for him. And I'm not in business for him, right? I want you, Terrence, I want all of you to understand why auto ship. In our business, there are several implied promises. One implied promise, and sometimes it's a spoken promise. But one implied promise is that part-time people can make money, right? In direct selling, you hear it all the time. Part-time people can make money. This is my practical experience. My practical experience is that there are not very many real, steady, solid, consistent part-time people. What I see instead are lots and lots and lots of what I call sporadics. A sporadic is somebody who either because of pain right at this moment or because of excitement right at this moment, whatever it is, they have this little blizzard of activities, little flurry. And then whatever the moment of pain was or the moment of excitement was, life goes on through its way and that moment passes and then they do nothing. So it's not like there's, in a lot of people's cases, a steady, consistent 5, 10, 12 hours per week. What I see is a whole lot of people that have a bunch of activity for 1 week and then no activity for 5. A bunch of activity for 1 week and no activity for 3 months. Well, we tell people that part-timers can make money. I assure you this, that minus an auto ship foundation, part-time people will not make money. Here's what will occur. They will have their little burst of sporadic behavior, and we can teach and coach and train and try to overcome it, but I've found that trying to change human nature, it seems to be, for me, human nature is what it is, and I'm not too likely to change it. I can understand it, and I can try to work within it, and I can try to help people overcome the downsides to that. A sporadic who comes back 5 weeks later and takes a look and says, oh, look, everyone's doing nothing. They're doing nothing. That's discouraging, and they quit. But what if a sporadic introduces 4 or 5 people in the business and then disappears for 3 months? They come back and they find out those folks are still on auto ship and the business is growing because of the product successes other people are having. They're enrolling a person or two because of that. Then that's encouraging instead of discouraging, right? Minus auto ship. The way that I view it is this. We today, and I can change that from we, I can say you, Terrence, today, and we all are in this class today because we're all starting. It's like we're standing at the bottom of a big hill and we've got a big rock. And I'm telling you the truth now. It's a pretty steep hill and it's a pretty big rock. And we've got to push the rock to the top of the hill. Well, let me ask you this question. What if you were to push a rock part way up a steep hill and then you took your hands off the rock and backed away from the rock? Would the rock stay there? No. The rock would roll down the hill. The rock would roll over the top of you. Isn't that true? That's true. If you've established an auto ship foundation, then in those times when the sporadic is not working, he or she comes back and they took a look and they see the rock stayed up the hill, and that's encouraging. And so what the Auto Ship Foundation does is that it gives the part-time person a far more realistic chance to make money. The second implied promise is that we tell people that they can work for a season and the income will start to take on a life of its own. Well, that is absolutely not true without Auto Ship. Without Auto Ship, we have truly a transaction-based business. We have to produce this month to get paid this month. The whole purpose of auto ship is to create this web of consumers that is in fact automatic, and so when we step aside, we still get paid from the ongoing automatic consumption. It's a difference in a transaction-based business and a residual business. Minus auto ship, people will not separate themselves from the generation of income. And finally, there's an implied or a spoken promise that people can have breakthrough financial experiences. I'm unaware of one person ever in this industry having a breakthrough financial experience who didn't have an absolute rock-solid auto ship foundation in their business. So for a variety of reasons and unique life experiences of my own, I can tell you there is no greater advocate for auto ship. In Kannaway, we call it smart ship. At step number 3, you don't simply establish auto ship. At step number 3, you establish auto ship and help your new member understand why he or she is doing it. When you get on auto ship, you are not doing it for me. You are doing it for your downline. I say, what? What's that about? I promise you that if you don't fully embrace auto ship, people in your business will not. And if they do not embrace auto ship, they will never live out the promises. So that's it. Step number 3 is not just to complete your auto ship, smart ship. Step number 3 is to complete your smart ship and to have a knowledge of why you have done so and realize that it's great to manage auto ship. You can go in and change the products and so on, but never cancel. Step 4 is to understand what all of the various resources are. What I've come to really know is that a properly constructed direct selling organization is one where we have a large number of people who know what the tools are that are required to effectively do whatever the job is. It's just real common sense that if I want to dig a big hole, I can do it more effectively with a backhoe than I can with a shovel. Isn't that right? That's right. But a shovel would be better than having no tool, wouldn't it? What I've observed and experienced is that some tools are really, really effective and some are less effective, but almost any tool is more effective than a person working without a tool. And I'm one who believes in making resources available so that people can access the compensation plan. I am not one who believes that either the company or people in the company, distributors, should have as a primary profit or income source the delivery of tools. That's the reason that every single thing that I make or ever will make will always be available free. Always be online free. It's there. It's yours for the taking. That, I hope, shows you that I'm in the same camp as you. My reason for creating a tool is not to make money in the sale of the tool. My reason in creating a tool, just like this one, is to have a better possibility of my newest member to access the compensation plan. You see, what can happen now, Terrence or anyone else out here, is even this simple little tool that we create right now, tomorrow you can do an effective new member orientation because you can meet with your brand new member and you can push play on this little tool. You can go through step 1 and push pause and ask their questions and comments. You can push 2 and set pause and so on and go through. Step number 4 is to do a brief back office tutorial. So after we complete your enrollment, We will then go into the back office and I'll show you where the resources are. Where are the video resources? Where are the print resources? Where are the resources that I create that are available to you to get into people's hands so this message can proliferate? So step number 4 is to become an effective tour guide, to know which tool you should allow to do the talking, to know where they are, and we'll go through that when we actually do your role. Step number 5 is to build belief. I periodically have people querying me as to why it is that this industry seems to be, for me, relatively easier. It must be. I mean, I continue to succeed, and there are lots of people who get started and they don't succeed. I think the biggest difference is my level of belief that what I'm doing is right. I really, really believe that I have a gift for you. I believe that. I think that what I propose to people is to participate in a company that has a chance to dramatically impact people's health for good. It's my absolute belief that by engaging in the process, that one develops new skills, which can then be positively applied to every other part of their life. It's my further belief that since what we really are doing is building leadership structures and hierarchies, that when one develops new leadership skills, that we then have an opportunity to impact society. Leadership is scarce. There's not enough of it to go around. There's not enough leadership in churches. There's not leadership in governments. There's not enough leadership in homes. And when one develops leadership attributes, then all parts of our life become more positive. I believe that when one engages in this process, that we become better people. And so the combination of my beliefs are why I have high activity levels. If one has a high belief that we're doing is good, our activity levels are high. And folks, I want you all to know this. The measure of our success, the measure of your success in this business, will be far more dependent upon the number of activities that you involve in than it will be based upon the effectiveness of those activities. I want to say it again. It's not about doing any of this especially well. It's about doing enough of it. In fact, in my entire life in this industry, I've never seen a person do all that is required to succeed but do it poorly and therefore fail. What I see instead is people who simply don't do what's required to succeed. So why is it that I do what's required to succeed, and I see some people with all the same possibilities in their lives, and they don't? I think the difference is in what I believe and what they believe. And so we must build our belief. Build our belief. How do I build my belief in the product? Well, tonight, Stuart Titus will be here. And when I listen to him speak, that'll build my belief in the product. How do I build my belief in the product? I get it in people's hands. If you had been with Samantha and I last week on a couple of week vacation with friends, some of them had immediate pressing needs for some of the products that we sell, and I had some on hand, and it provided them relief for some pain. That built my belief. When a person used the product and then said, I want to become a customer, and did, and placed a meaningful order, that built my belief. When that same person said, I want to come and look at the business tonight, he'll be here tonight, that builds my belief. So you see the actual, the taking action upon the very business building principles build my belief. The more that I do, the more I believe. The more I believe, the more that I do, and the more predictably positive become the outcomes. So we build belief. We build belief in our company. We build belief in our product lines. We build belief in the processes that I now lay out for you. Build belief in the organizational structure. When belief levels are high, candidate lists are large, and activity levels are high, incomes then go up. Step number 6 is to create an initial candidate list. And here, I now speak to whoever you are out there, as well as to Terrence. In our industry, there's kind of a common, almost standard thing to build a candidate list of 100 people or 200 people. What I like is something that's really actionable. What I'd really like, Terrence, is for you to make a candidate list today that has people on it for you to contact tomorrow. So what I do is I make a list every morning of the 3 or 4 people I'm going to call today. And then tomorrow morning I make a list. So my list creation is a daily behavior. It's not a one-time behavior of making a list of 100 people that I'll never touch. It's, in fact, you're here with me, staying at my home, and you see that I'm actually engaging in the processes that I'd have people engage in, right? And it's just a real simple deal. And so in the morning, I make my list of things that I'm going to do today and people that I'm going to contact today. Some of those people are brand new first contacts. Some are partway through the discovery process. Some are at the concluding process. But I make my list every day. So step number 6 is simply creating a list. And for me, it's very simple. It's refined. It's focused. It is, who am I going to contact today to show this business to? And every day I make that list in the morning, and I act upon the list during the day. Step number 7 is to learn how to invite. And this idea of learning how to invite, this is one of the fascinations that I have. Here we have my typical new member. And over here, I have my typical new members prospect. And the way that it goes is my typical new member who has not learned how to invite contacts their prospect and they say, I'm all excited about this business and I'd like for you to look at it with me. Well, they say, well, that's cool. I'm excited. My business is fun. How much money are you making? Well, that's a logical question, isn't it? If I want to invite you to get involved in the business with me, that's a logical question. Well, I only got involved yesterday. I'm not making any money. Oh, so you want me to join you in a business, but you're not making any money. Well, how much do you know about it? Well, not that much. I got involved yesterday. Can you teach me how to do it? No, I don't know how to do it. Then why in the world should I join you? You see, something changes, though, when we have learned how to invite. You see what the error was here? Here, what the prospect was seeing was the predictable and, in fact, inevitable lack of results. This is a brand new member we're talking about. It's a brand new member. He or she can't have results yet. And so if our prospect is looking at the results of the typical new member, they can't act based upon that. Mm-hmm. When we've learned how to invite, all that means is that we've learned what to say and what not to say, so that our candidate becomes willing to open his or her eyes and ears to see what the opportunity really is. You see, if we don't know how to invite, then our candidate is simply looking at our results. And if we just got started today, we can't have any results yet. We need to learn how to invite. If we learn how to invite, then our candidate sees what the opportunity is. And what is the opportunity? Well, Terrence, the opportunity is to participate in the transition from obscure to popularized of CBD. That's a big opportunity. The opportunity is to participate in the movement from obscure to popularized of hemp in all of its various iterations for all the different types of products that can be made with it over the course of the next decade. What is the opportunity? The opportunity is to work for ourselves instead of somebody else. The opportunity is to make more money than we can make doing something else. The opportunity is to become involved in a community whose primary purpose is lifelong personal growth and development. The opportunity is to develop new skills and character attributes. Well, if that's what you see, you want to do it, isn't it? If I've learned how to invite, then my candidate sees the opportunity. If I haven't learned how to invite, then my candidate sees my immediate results. And if I'm brand new, those results cannot, by definition, be anything. So learn how to invite. Now, one of the tools that I've recently created, which will be available on my website and also at Kannaway, once again free, is an audio file that is called Master the Art of the Invitation. And I encourage you to listen to it day after day after day after day. Now, here in the very earliest days, this is easy. This is really, really easy. Why? Because you're brand new. And because you're brand new, that means that you have a fresh, current circle of influence, and it's really simple. So here in the beginning, for you, my suggestion to you is to be very, very simple in your invitation. One that I like is to anyone, verbally, in a text, in an email, in a social media, in private message. What do you know about CBD and the corresponding health benefits? Not much or a lot, whatever the answer is. Fantastic. I recently got involved in a CBD project. I'd like to share with you some opportunities associated with that. And then I paste a link. That's it. That was easy. You could do that, couldn't you? Right. Now, most network marketing distributors tend to fall into one of two categories. One category is the distributor who's afraid to talk. The other category is worse. It's the distributor who's afraid to stop talking. Remember that if we are talking, we're not likely to be accomplishing much. If a tool is talking, we might well be accomplishing a lot. Every single thing that we do in this business is teaching someone else what they must do. And so if we use to have an efficiency of words to say as little as we must to get out of the way, and let a tool start to talk, then we're correctly showing our new participant that he or she can do this with the limited time they've got. If my interaction with you, when I first meet with you to show you the business, if before you know anything, I spend an hour with you, I just taught you it's going to take an hour with every single thing. And if you got anything going on in your life, you don't have any time. If, on the other hand, I just say, Terrence, what do you know about CBD and the corresponding health benefits? You say, well, not much, Randy. You know what? I just got involved with the CBD project. It's really cool. I'd like to send a link to you and have you review it. Could I give you a call and chat thereafter? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
That's how we do it. Say as little as we must to get out of the way to let a tool start to talk. So that's an example. What do you know about CBD and the corresponding health benefits? We can be even more simple. Earlier today, we recorded a link that is a basic business presentation, and even more simple would simply be, hey, Terrence, I just got involved in a project I'm super excited about. I'm going to send a link over to you now, and I'll give you a call later to talk about it. That's that. And now, see, I let the tool do the discussion. If I do more, then I'm putting myself at risk of my new member or my candidate saying, well, Randy, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. I'm putting myself in a position where I have to answer questions and I probably don't know the answers. Whereas if the candidate reviews the tool, if they review that presentation, now they get to see it delivered by someone who does know the answers. This idea of learning how to invite, it's really, really important. If you want to get the key in the lock of this compensation plan, then make a decision today to learn how to invite. Simply put, it is learning what to say and what not to say, having efficiency in words to get out of the way when the tool talks or a candidate sees the opportunity. Step 8 is to learn to build our business through home business reviews, one-on-one meetings, two-on-one presentations, and so on. Now tonight, Terrence, you'll get a chance to see what I believe is the model. Tonight, Samantha and I will open our home. We'll invite a handful of people over, and you will see that we'll present the business in a fashion that can duplicate. Now, tonight, we'll have Dr. Stuart Titus here, and that particular part of the discussion will not be very duplicatable because he's not going to be in the next person's home the next night. But the next segment will be extraordinarily duplicatable because even though, as is evident in this session, I can talk, I won't do so much talking. What I'll do is push play on video. Because by pushing play on a video, I'm teaching you and the other new potential participants that hey, I can do this. I don't have to know all that stuff. I have to know what the resources are. And that goes back to step number 4. If I know what the resources are, because I went through and discovered what they were, the real key to success in this business is to know which tool to allow to do the talking in every situation. That's when we get leverage. Step number 9 is to learn how. It says here to understand the purpose and value of each tool in the business building kit. That actually is back at step 4. We'll correct this before it's delivered to the distributor force at large. Step 9 is to learn how to effectively do new member orientations. And here I'm teaching you how to do new member orientation. How do we do it? We simply meet, we bring together our person who has decided or who is deciding. We push play on this very web session. And having gone through step number 1, we push pause and say, do you have any questions or thoughts on that? We press number 2. How do you have any questions or thoughts on that? We go through it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. When it states at the very beginning that there's no luck and there's no guesswork, there's a proven and predictable pattern of activities. It is this very process. This is the proven and predictable pattern of activities that creates the foundation of success that then allows you to further develop and refine your own leadership skills and attributes to take it as far as you want to go. But these are the basic building blocks. And step number 10 is to put steps number 7 through 9 into action. And that means I'm always really careful with this because I want you to drive the boat, not me. It's your business. Say that saying, it's you, not me. But what I want you all to know is, again, you're catching we're here in the beginning days of this business, literally the beginning days, not months of this business. And in this infancy, it means that I'm available to help you. And so, Terrence, I want to be with you in Georgia. I want to be in your home. I want to be with you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I want to be with you. Now, I believe the time will come in the not too distant future where we will have 1,000 applications a day and then 5,000 applications a day. I believe that will happen. So that will change. Our message at that time will change. We'll be entirely reliant upon processes and tools at that point and on a growing and expanding leadership structure and hierarchy. But today I can tell you this. I want to be in your home. I'm willing to come. Willing to come and help you if you're willing to do those things in advance of the visit that make it predictably, that make the event predictably positive. And when I say I'm Samantha, I would love to be with you. And so, Terrence, I've just walked you through the correct processes. Those are the steps to get it started correctly. Does that all make sense to you?
Makes a lot of sense.
And I want you all to know, again, folks, there's no luck, there's no guesswork, there's a proven, predictable pattern of activities. Now, there are a few of you that I talked to earlier today. I said that I would send a link out to you, and so here we have that link. My invitation to you is to review this yourself, remembering that it was created without you, your goals in mind. And when you send me a text and tell me you've completed this review, then I'd like to have a quick follow-up conversation with you. I'll help you determine what is for you an appropriate initial order. We can walk through the enrollment process, get your enrollment placed. Having your enrollment done and your order placed, we can then do a quick back office tutorial, and then it's down to action. It's about establishing a daily activity standard and setting this ball in motion. There is no luck and there is no guesswork. If A, then B, then C, then D. If we do what's required to succeed, we will. If we do a lot of it, we'll succeed more quickly. So I thank you, Terrence, and I thank you. I look forward to our ongoing association and mutual success. Talk to you soon.